Bluey has gained a lot of popularity over the years, and it's no doubt that it's considered an amazing show worldwide. These are Bluey's 10 best episodes. I also want to mention that all 10 of these episodes are rated 9 or higher, which is insane. Number 10 is Flat Pack, with a rating of 9.2 stars. The episode starts off with Bluey's parents opening up some boxes, and based on the title of the episode, I'm guessing that they're assembling some kind of flat pack furniture. Bluey and Bingo ask if they can play with the bubble wrap Dad pulls out, and he gives it to them. The first thing Bluey and Bingo do is pretend to be a mama fish and baby fish. Dad and Mom are trying to assemble the furniture, and a picture of a cartoon dog says that they should put some cardboard down first, but Bluey's dad says he'll never take advice from a cartoon dog, even though he's literally a cartoon dog. Bandit throws the flat box to the yard, and now Bluey and Bingo decide to play as frog dogs and pretend the flat box is land. Once the mom throws some cardboard tubes at them, they get the idea to use them as tails and become lizards. Lizards that eat bugs. And after some weird shaped piece of cardboard drops, Bluey and her sister decide to become dinosaurs and pretend they're at a volcano. And I think there's some kind of pattern going on with the animals they're playing as. They went from a fish to frogs to lizards to dinosaurs, which is exactly like the basic stages of evolution. It's cool too how they change according to their environment. It also seems like Bluey and her sister are treating their parents like gods, since they aren't changing the land at all. They're just improving with whatever their parents throw at them. Anyways, after Bluey and her sister pretend to be dinosaurs, Mom smacks Dad's finger with a hammer, and bro falls back and crushes the volcano, knocking the sisters back. So they decide to become birds and fly away. Bingo also says that she's not a toddler anymore, but a big girl. So she seems to be aging up every time they change animals. After that, they pretend to be snow animals and hide under a bag of styrofoam. Also, Bluey's mom and dad seem to be working better together now, and Mom asks Dad to take this stand thing away until they need it. Bluey and Bingo climb on the stand and pretend to be monkeys, but of course Mom and Dad end up needing the stand, so Dad has to kick Bluey and her sister off. And since their arms are tired, they decide to be cave dogs and live in a box. Bluey draws hieroglyphics of all the animals they pretend to be, starts to talk in a ooga booga language. She even drew her parents as some kind of gods, so they even managed to sprinkle religion in this episode. And Bluey's parents catch them impersonating them, and they have a cute little moment which inspires them to lock in, and they finally finish building the chair. And after Bluey sees all the styrofoam and some screwdrivers on the ground, her and her sister pretend to be humans who are building a house, and they build a pretty nice castle. And at this point, Bingo is pretending she's at an age where she's a young adult leaving the house. After Bingo drives away, the episode ends with a cute little scene of Bluey sitting with her parents on their brand new chair. I can definitely see why this episode is rated so highly. For one, the fact that this is literally a kid's show, yet in 7 short minutes, they show all of the basic stages of evolution, cavemen worshipping gods, and some nice family bonding. I thought it was really cute too, how in the beginning of the episode, Bluey's parents weren't getting along that well and were struggling, but halfway through, they realized as a team, they created Bluey and Bingo, and that helped them work as a team to build the chair. And while Bluey was going through an animal evolution, Bingo was going through her own evolution as well, since she went from a baby fish to a whole adult, leaving the house. And I thought that was a great way to end the episode. Number 9 is Dragon, and is rated an amazing 9.4 stars. The episode starts off with Bluey drawing herself with fairy wings, and she asks her dad to help draw a dragon story. And Dad draws himself riding a horse, and Mom also draws herself on a horse, and this girl can draw. And of course, Dad gets embarrassed, and he ends up calling his horse a donkey. Bingo also draws herself riding a motorcycle, and the family all head to slay the dragon. I think it's really cool how the drawings are coming to life as they draw them, and I can tell kids really like this episode. It's pretty much pushing you to have an imagination, and I love that. And it's also really cool how all their art styles are very different. Anyways, Bluey draws a dragon, but Dad can't even tell what it is and calls it Humpty Dumpty. And Bluey just goes with it and says the dragon's hiding somewhere else. But then Humpty Dumpty eats Dad, and they have to kill Humpty Dumpty. So Bingo crashes into it with her motorcycle and it falls over, and the family continue their search for the dragon. Bluey asks his mom to draw a giant forest, and in the forest there's a wise talking tree. So they head to it and ask where the dragon is. Once they get to the wise talking tree, Mom's hand is tired from drawing the forest, so Dad tries to draw it, and wow. So Bluey asks Bingo to draw it instead, and Bingo draws a monster tree that grabs everyone and shoves their faces into fruits. I also like the detail that the piece of pasta on Bingo's paper is actually on the tree. It's a good attention to detail. So Mom asks the tree where the dragon is, and the tree says the dragon is in the toilet. Dad gets his axe out, and the tree just throws them far away. So they decide to camp out for the night. Mom asks Bluey to cast a memory spell on her dad, and now we get to see why he stopped drawing. When he was 6 years old, some kid bullied his card drawings, and that's why he gave up on drawing altogether. Then we get to see the mom's memory. She was getting frustrated because she couldn't draw a horse as good as the pictures, but her mom told her to never give up, and now she can draw crazy good. This inspires Bluey, and the next morning they continue their journey. After a long hike, they finally find the dragon's cave, and it is full of treasure. Bluey also begins drawing the dragon, and it's actually a pretty good dragon, and not Humpty Dumpty. Anyways, the drag burns Dad's pants, and the family has an all-out battle with the dragon, until Bluey turns it into a handbag. But now they face a new problem. The cave is collapsing, so Dad finally faces his trauma and draws a car, and they all drive out the cave. But wait, did you see that? When Dad is in the car, he has his pants back that just burned off, but in the very next scene, they're gone again? Oops. Anyways, the family is all ready to leave, but this next scene is really deep. The episode ends with Chili realizing that her horse isn't coming with them, and she cries as she sets it free. Considering that Bluey didn't recognize her grandma, I think this means that Chili's mom is dead, and this is her finally accepting her passing, which is insanely deep and symbolic, and definitely not something I expected in a Bluey episode. episode. This episode was adorable and really charming, and I enjoyed it a lot. I love the animation and all of the family contributing to the dragon story, as well as sharing memories from their past, which was really cool. I really love the plot direction and all the details in the episode, like how everyone in the family had different drawing styles that reflected heavily into the story. It was really sad to see that Bluey's dad used to love drawing too as a kid, but then someone was mean to him and made him never want to draw again, which honestly, knowing that makes the ending scene really special. Anyways, I didn't expect this episode to have such a bittersweet ending, but it was really nice seeing such a touching moment of Chili letting her mom go in an otherwise very lighthearted episode. Number 8 is Fairy Tale, and it's rated 9.4 stars. The episode starts off with Bandit reading his kids a fairy tale before bed, and Bingo asks if they're real. He tells them that they're not real, but then says he's gonna tell them a fairy tale from real life, one that actually happened to him. The fairy tale is about a brother who was mean and got cursed, and there's even a princess. It takes place in the 80s when Bandit was 10. He starts the story by telling them he was on a holiday with his older brother Radley and his younger brother Stripe. Bluey asks why no one was wearing helmets, and Bandit goes,
"It was the 80s, man. It was a wild place."
He then lists a bunch of crazy stuff about the 80s, like how trampolines didn't have nets, BMX seats were high, and skidding your bike was popular. So Bandit always picks on Stripe. And one day, when Bandit is making fun of his brother as usual, his older brother Radley jinxes him. And after being jinxed, you have 10 seconds to touch a person who jinxed you, or you're cursed. And you can't talk unless someone says your name. And Bandit fails to catch his brother, so now he's jinxed. And Bandit's brothers do things like ordering food he doesn't like and blame him for stuff since he can't say anything. And his mom chases him with a shoe. Bandit tries getting his dad to say his name, but instead his dad is happy that Bandit is jinxed and wishes that all of them were jinxed, which I'm sure most parents honestly feel like this. Bandit's mom tells him about how he's been mean to his brother the whole summer, and he should use his time to think about it. This makes Bandit realize that he's actually been a horrible brother. And the next day, Bandit sees his brother in trouble and stuck on some pointy plants, so he helps him out. And even though Bandit helped out his brother, he still doesn't say his name. So Bingo asks her dad how the curse got broken, and he finally tells him about the princess.
Bandit healer?
Some girl behind him saw his hat on the floor and picked it up, and since it said his name on it, she was the one to break the jinx. Bandit tells them it was actually Bluey's mom who broke his jinx, but she says she has no memory of it actually happening, so they don't know if it's true or not. Bluey asks if it really was her mom, and Bandit just says it's up to them to decide. After they tuck the kids in, we get to see the flashback, and it really was Bluey's mom, which is honestly a really cute way to end the episode. This was a really good episode. It was honestly amazing to get lore on Bluey's dad as a kid, and has a lot of great 80s references. I also think this episode is really good for kids, as it shares a really good lesson. Siblings bully each other all the time, and this episode can honestly help a sibling to realize what they're actually doing, and see that their actions and words actually have consequences. That's a great lesson. This was a good episode. Number 7 is Onesies, with a rating of 9.5 stars. The episode starts off, and Chili is showing her kids some dance her and her sister used to do when someone rings the doorbell, and Chili's sister Brandy comes over, and she bought onesies as presents. And for some reason though, Chili seems terrified after Bingo gets a onesie, so I wonder what that's about. Chili also says she hasn't seen her sister in 4 years, which is kind of insane to me. I wonder if they had beef or something, or they just grew apart for some reason. Bingo and Bluey come out in onesies, but Bluey's onesie is too tight, and Bingo's is way too big. And Bluey is mad that Cheetah onesie doesn't fit her, but there's nothing that they can do, so they decide to switch. Brandy looks sad and has something to tell Chili, but before she can, Bluey drags them inside. Now that Bingo's wearing the Cheetah onesie, she literally acts like a wild animal and tackles her poor dad into the ground. The rest of the family literally leaves Bandit to die and run for their lives, and they go hide in the car. And Bluey tells Brandy that onesies make Bingo go crazy. Bandit manages to crawl to the car, and this man already looks dead before Bingo sacks him again. She's a monster. Bingo does get into the car though, and they all run from the car. Now they all have to hide behind the shed. And Bluey asks her aunt if they had any medium cheetah onesies at the shop, and Brandy apologizes because she thought zebras are still Bluey's favorite animal, and this makes Brandy sad. So she says that she's gonna leave and that coming was a mistake. So now I'm really starting to wonder what the problem is. But right when Brandy's about to leave, Bingo sacks her to the ground. And I gotta say, the way this 5-year-old tackles full-grown adults is pretty impressive, I won't lie. Bluey and Chili run inside and go hide in the bathtub. This is when Bluey asks her mom why Auntie Brandy was about to leave and why they never see her. And her mom says something extremely sad. She says, just like Bluey in the cheetah onesie, her sister wants something more than anything, but it wasn't meant to be. It seems based on the clues that Brandy can't have kids for some reason, so being around Chili is really hard for her. Bluey and Chili go to check on Brandy, but it's a trap, and Bingo tackles Chili to the ground. I'm wondering how they're gonna stop Bingo, because she's going crazy and they cannot do anything about it. Anyways, Brandy apologizes to her sister for not coming around more, and she says the next time she comes over, she's not bringing onesies. It's also funny how in the background, you just see Bingo chasing Bluey up and down the slide. Bluey begs her dad for help, but he says he can't because he's been eaten, but then tells Bluey to act like a zebra. Bluey manages to dodge Bingo pretty well until Bingo grabs her by the tail. Just when Bluey's about to be eaten, Chili and Brandy start doing the dance from the beginning episode, which makes Bingo completely stop her rampage and start dancing, and the episode ends there. I also love how you just see dad laying down and on his phone. He's so real for that. This was a great episode, and I can see why it's loved by so many fans. We basically spend the whole episode wondering what happened to Chili and her sister, which makes you want to keep watching. I also enjoyed seeing a 5-year-old terrorizing the entire family. Honestly, they should put Bingo in football. She would kill that. Another great part about this episode is that they managed to touch on a subject that's very sensitive for a lot of women, which is crazy for a show show made for 7-year-olds. I love how you can see this episode from two very different perspectives. For one, if you're a kid watching it, you're not going to realize how deep this episode really is, and you're just going to enjoy it for what it is. But if you're someone who relates to this topic or has struggled with it, this episode can make you very emotional. And a lot of fans have said it literally made them sob. It's really sad how Brandy isn't able to be there for her sister and watch her kids grow, because deep down she's really sad and wants that for herself. Number 6 is Rain, with a rating of 9.5 stars. The episode starts off with Bingo and her dad leaving to go somewhere, and it starts raining. Chili rushes to get the laundry inside, but Bluey is just having fun in the rain. And Bluey notices a stream of water going down the walkway to her front door, and she tries to block the water from flowing. And Chili gives Bluey an umbrella so she can stay dry, but she literally tries to use the umbrella to block the water, and the umbrella doesn't work that well. But then she has the idea to use a roll of newspaper and some of her toys, but her mom gets mad because she runs inside all wet. I also want to mention that there's no dialogue in this episode so far, but it's still doing a really good job of telling a story. Bluey puts down some blocks to block the water, but the blocks get pushed out of the way. The mom cleans up and puts down a towel so Bluey can dry her feet off, but Bluey just uses the towel to support the blocks. Once she does this, she realizes the newspaper needs support too, so she runs inside wet and dirty again and steals another towel. Bluey's mom now has to fight for her life to try to keep Bluey outside, but she literally shoves right through her and goes to grab the toy house. Chili looks defeated and just gives up, but when she notices how much fun Bluey is having, she lets out a little smile. Even with the house in Bluey's hands and feet, the water still isn't completely blocked. Right before the water escapes, Chili actually comes to help Bluey block the water, and even throws her umbrella in the yard to use her hands. Right before the water touches the other side of the path, the rain stops, and Bluey is really disappointed, until she sees a huge double rainbow, which instantly cheers her up. Just when Bluey and Chili are about to go inside, it starts raining again, and they run back to try and block the water again. And that's it. This was a really fun episode. It's not like a normal Bluey episode, because there's basically no dialogue at all, and mostly just music. It's not easy to make a good episode with no dialogue, and Bluey did an amazing job at it. This episode had 9 words in total, with all of them being in the first few seconds. Even the title card wasn't narrated, which is weird for a Bluey episode. This episode told such a cute story about a mom letting go of her responsibilities for a bit to have some fun with her daughter. And even though we don't hear what they're saying, we can easily pick up on what's going on. Bluey's mom is mad that she keeps tracking mud in the house, and now she's bringing a bunch of stuff outside, but halfway through the episode, she lets that stress go and actually has a good time playing with Bluey. And it's such a cute episode. Number 5 is Camping, and is rated an amazing 9.6 stars. The episode starts out and Bluey and her family are out camping, and Bluey's cousin Muffin kicks her and Bingo out of the caravan, so they decide to just go play in the woods. But mom scoops up Bingo because she stank and need a bath, so now Bluey goes into the woods alone and decides to build a hut out of sticks. And Bluey sees another kid and tries to talk to him, but he speaks French so she can't understand him. He still decides to play with her though, and helps her gather sticks. Once he realizes that she's building a house, he gets leaves to use as the walls, and this hut actually looks pretty sick. The only problem now is that they need food. The kid picks up this seed and says that they should plant it to grow fruit, and they realize the fruit tree's gonna take a long time to grow, and they need food right now. And then Bluey's dad comes over making some weird noises, which I don't understand why, and Bluey and her new friend call her dad a wild pig, so they decide to hunt him. Bluey's dad runs away once he sees the kids running at him, and the kids get called in for dinner, and also introduce themselves to each other, and they decide to meet again tomorrow. They play again for an entire day, and they try to make a plan to catch the wild pig, and they both kind of just yap some nonsense to each other, then run at him like idiots. So their plan fails, and they get in for dinner again. The next day, Bluey uses water and a rock to draw out the plan, so her and her new friend both know what to do. The plan is for Bluey to distract and her friend to get him from the other side, and they execute it perfectly and bring the wild pig down, and they hug and say they'll see each other tomorrow, but he looks really sad for some reason. And the next morning when Bluey goes to meet him, she notices that their plant finally sprouted. When she goes to tell her friend, their tent is suddenly gone, and Bluey asks her mom if she's seen him, and she says that she saw them packing up, so they already left. Bluey spends the entire day missing her friend, and even goes and cries by their plant. This is honestly a really sad episode. Later that night, Bingo wakes her mom up to go use the bathroom, and Bluey asks if she can come too. Bluey is really sad about her new friend, but her mom teaches her a lesson about how special people come and go in your life, and you should appreciate the time you had with them instead of being sad they're gone. Bluey still wonders if she'll ever see him again though, and mom shuts off the nightlight, and just look how beautiful the sky looks. Beautiful. We see a little time lapse of the tree growing, so quite a few years have gone by, but then something insane happens. An older Bluey goes to the tree and is reunited with her friend, and the episode ends there. What an adorable episode. The fact that Bluey managed to create such a strong bond with someone who doesn't even speak the same language as her was really cool to see, and it struck really hard in the feelings when her friend suddenly left, and Bluey moped around the entire day. This is a really relatable episode, because as a kid when you're on vacation, the worst part about making friends was knowing you'll never see him again. It was always really hard saying goodbye. The fact that we also got to see an older Bluey reuniting with him makes this episode hit so much harder. Also, a cool little detail about this episode is that in the French dub, he actually speaks English the entire episode. Number 4 is Baby Race, and is rated 9.6 stars. The episode starts off with Bluey and Bingo on the monkey bars, and Bluey keeps asking if she's better at the monkey bars than Judo, her neighbor. This inspires mom to tell him a story of when she took her first steps, so we're getting another flashback episode. So when Bluey was a baby, she learned to roll over really early, and this caused Chili to become a show-off. And one day at the mom group when Chili is showing off, Judo learns to sit on her own, which makes Chili get competitive. So now Chili is determined to get Bluey walking before Judo. So now it's a baby race. And I don't know why, but when I saw the title of this episode, I thought it was gonna be an actual baby race. Anyways, after a lot of practice, Bluey finally learns to sit up, but by then Judo is already crawling. So Chili is trying her best, but Bluey does literally everything else but crawl. First, she just rolls around all over the place, then she starts butt scooting all over the place. And while Bluey's having a great time bus scooting, Judo is locked in and almost walking already. Chili even takes Bluey to the doctors, but he says some babies just like to bum shovel before crawling. And when Bluey finally learns how to crawl, she crawls backwards. Even Grandma tries to help Bluey learn to walk, but she just puts oil on her knees.
If she can't crawl, she has to walk.
This doesn't really matter though, because Judo already won the baby race and is already walking. And Chili gets insecure and feels like she's doing everything wrong as a mom. And she's so upset that she doesn't go to the next mom group. Coco's mom, Bella, notices. She goes to see Chili. They talk for a bit and she shows her some family photos. And bro, this girl got like 1, 2, 3, 9 kids. But Bella tells Chili that she's doing great as a mom. This makes her feel a lot better. And she says to stop comparing herself to other moms. The episode ends with Bluey taking her first steps towards her mom. And it's a really heartwarming episode. This was a really cute episode. And it was nice to see Chili and Bandit as young parents with a baby Bluey. There were a lot of things about this episode that were great. The story, the lesson, the emotions, and humor are all very strong in this episode. It also does a really good job at showing that even when new parents are trying their best, they still have a lot of self-doubt. Despite Chili trying her hardest to get Bluey to walk before Judo, she fails. And because of that, she's extremely disappointed in herself and feels like she's not doing a good job as a mom. And I'm really glad one of the other moms went and reassured her because it was a really touching scene. The moment when Chili realizes that all kids learn at their own pace and that she shouldn't compare herself to the other moms was a really valuable lesson for herself and to teach Bluey. And what's crazy about this episode is that it's a good lesson for kids and adults. So if you're an adult watching this with your kid, you're getting a whole lesson as well. And that's so cool. Number 3 is Cricket and is rated 9.7 stars. The episode opens up with Dad saying he's going to tell a story about the time they tried to get Rusty out in cricket. Bluey and Bingo are not very good at cricket, but it's adorable either way. So Bandit's brother is up to bat and he tells everyone to move in as a joke. Stripe smashes the ball all the way into someone else's yard, and I have no idea how cricket works, but he scored 6 and out. The next person up to bat is Rusty, but Bluey is pretty bored, so she asks if they can play another game called Tiggy instead. Bandit says they can play Tiggy once they bowl Rusty out, but little do they know, this kid is a no life at cricket. He plays all day every day with his brother and his sister, and even when they're not around, he plays by himself. That's some dedication. Bandit tries harder on his next throw, but Rusty smacks that thing easily. And look at this wiener dog. The way he can't throw because of his short arms is so funny. The dad now realizes that Rusty is really good, so they try to work together and get him out. They plan to throw the ball to his right, and then have a dad staying on the side ready to catch it. But one day, after Rusty hit the ball into his mom's kitchen, he spent hours practicing his accuracy, so he wouldn't do that again. And he nails it right between the two dads. And bro, there's a kid hitting the floss and Bluey right now. Anyways, they decide to switch up the pitchers, and Bandit's brother is pitching next. The other dad tells him to aim right at the crack in the ground to throw off the pitch, but yet again, this boy Rusty is literally trained for every possible situation in cricket. When Rusty used to play cricket at his friend Jack's house, their front yard was really rough, and it was really hard for us to get used to. It was really sweet too, to see Jack cheering for Rusty when he finally hit the ball too, even though they were playing against each other. So Stripe throws the ball right into the crack, but Rusty still hits it perfectly, which makes Bandit die laughing. Rusty did have one weakness though, fast throws. Sometimes Rusty liked to play with his older brother's friends, and one of them, Tiny, could throw really fast. Despite playing with them, Rusty was never brave enough to bat against Tiny until one day. They weren't using a tennis ball either, but an actual cricket ball, and those things are hard. And Rusty ends up taking a pretty hard hit and has to limp home. His brother tells him maybe he should wait until he's older, but Rusty did not give up. So one day, Rusty's dad writes a letter to his family from the army, and there was a small note for Rusty in the bottom, telling him that when he's faced with a challenge, he has 2 choices: step out of the way and get out, or take it head on and score. And we know which one he's probably gonna do. So Rusty hits the pitch from the last dad, and now it's time for lunch. And I think the dad's ego is a little hurt because they beg Rusty for one more pitch, but instead of nailing it, he does something really sweet. He hits his little sister a catch, and she gets him out. Bandit tells Bluey that's what cricket's about, and the episode ends with Rusty giving his future self a high five. And it looks like he's playing professionally. This was a great episode with some really good storytelling, and I can see why so many people love this episode. Even though I don't know anything about cricket, I was still able to watch this episode and enjoy it. And I found myself rooting for the dads to get Rusty out. I thought it was really cute too that Rusty let his sister catch him out in the end, since in the first flashback, she asked him to hit her a catch, but he was more focused on scoring. It was also cool to see just how talented this kid was. He literally has full grown man throwing to him as hard as they can and hits every ball with ease. It was also nice to see how Rusty got so good at cricket, and it's a great lesson to never give up. The outro scene was also really cute because it shows that he chased his dream and actually got it from working so hard. Number 2 is The Sign and has an insane rating of 9.8 stars. The episode starts with the family talking about how Radley and Frisky are about to get married, and they're doing the wedding in Bluey's backyard. We also see that the Healer family has their house for sale, and they have to leave so that Agent can show their house to some dogs with no eyes. Bluey is not happy, but Bingo does not care. Mom explains that they have to move because Dad got a new job in a different city that pays more, but even she seems like she doesn't want to move. The next day at school, Bluey asks why stories always have a happy ending, and the teacher tells them it's because life has enough sad endings, which is pretty deep, and the kids just start listing stuff off that they're sad about.
My gerbil ran away. My mom doesn't live with my dad and now he's lonely.
Bluey tells them about how she's not going to see him again because she's moving, and all the kids start howling together. Next, the teacher reads them a new story called The Farmer. The story is about a farmer who lost his horse, and the farmer's horse ends up coming back and bringing 3 wild horses, and the neighbors tell him how lucky he is. The farmer's son tries to ride one of the wild horses, but it throws him off and breaks his leg. But the very next day, every young man in that town was forced to go into the army, except for the farmer's son because he broke his leg. The kids are all confused by the book's ending, but the teacher tells Bluey everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Bluey is now kind of happy on the way home from school until the agent calls and tells Bandit that they want to buy the house the next day. The family is all getting ready for the wedding, and Frisky learns that Rat was planning on moving and didn't even tell her, so she gets really upset and tries to call him. While this is happening, Bluey's cousin and sister are all doing flower girl practice, but they don't know where Bluey is, so they go to look for her and find her sitting outside. She's still sad about the house being sold until Muffin offers her a simple solution. If she destroys the sign, the house won't be for sale anymore. So Bluey and the other flower girls now head to the sign. And while this is happening, inside Frisky asks if she can take the for sale sign down for the wedding, and Chili says that's a good idea. When Bluey, Muffin, and Bingo try to lift the sign, they ultimately fail to do so. But then Frisky comes outside and the kids think that they're in trouble until she offers to help them. Right before she lifts up the sign though, Bradley calls her back and she looks mad. It's even worse than I thought too, because she suddenly says the wedding is off and drives away. And dang, she could at least help the kids with the sign. So the kids go inside to tell mom that Frisky left and called off the wedding, and she decides to go try and talk some sense into her and bring the kids. Bluey is extremely happy because the back seat is full, so that means she gets to sit in the front seat for the first time. But a policeman pulls them over for Bluey sitting in the front seat, but I guess it's illegal since the back seat is full and Bluey's older than 4. The kids mention that they're looking for their aunt Frisky, and the policeman literally pulled her over and gave her a speeding ticket 10 minutes before that. That girl is not having a good day. She did get pulled over near her favorite juice shop, so Chili decides to check there. They get to the juice place, and this part makes me so upset because her car is being blocked by a truck so they don't see it. And then while they're inside, Bluey gets distracted by some monkeys, and you literally see Frisky getting out of the bathroom and leaving behind them while the kids say they want watermelon juice. In the next scene, one of the kids spills their juice in the car, but then something insane happens. While Chili is pulled over cleaning the juice up, Frisky literally pulls up to the light, so they get in their car and start chasing her. They're literally right behind her now, and Socks goes,
I need the toilet.
and I'm feeling like Muffin right now. She looks so mad. So they stop at a bathroom. But when they're leaving, they let a butterfly into the car, which terrorizes them. So they have to pull over to let the butterfly out, and Chili sees a sign that makes her realize where Frisky is. When her and Frisky were teenagers, they used to go to a place called the Lookout to think. They all give Frisky a hug, and then the other kids go to play with some binoculars. Bluey says Frisky needs to come back and help Bluey take out the sign, but her mom tells her that even if they do that, they're still gonna have to move. This is a really big moment for the mom because she finally tells Bluey her true feelings about not wanting to move instead of trying to hide it. Of course, she doesn't want to move. Bluey literally took her first steps in that house. This episode is doing a really good job of pushing the message that even though you don't know what's gonna happen, everything will work out the way it's supposed to in the end, whether it's good or bad. The other kids come back upset because they can't use binoculars unless they have a coin. But Bluey remembers the coin she got from the juice shop, so she runs over to the binoculars. Rat also shows up, so I guess he knows his soon-to-be wife really well. Chili lets him talk it out and goes to hang out with the kids. But these dumb kids got the coin stuck in the machine, and it's really jammed in there. You know you're screwed when even mom can't get it out. Bingo says it's not a lucky coin, and Bluey just goes,
We'll see.
They turn around and we see that Rad and Frisky made up because they're hugging. So the wedding is back on. So everyone arrives for the wedding, and it's cool to see that Chili's sister is there and she's pregnant. Which, remember the episode from earlier? She couldn't have kids, and now she's having kids, which is awesome. Anyways, the wedding goes really well, and we get to see some cute wedding pictures as well. And at the dinner, Rad makes an announcement. He decided that they're no longer gonna move out west. And honestly, he's so real for that. Happy wife, happy life. And after dinner, they have a sick dance party, and oh my goodness, why are Bluey's animators so obsessed with the floss? I actually can't take it anymore. The next morning, the agent comes and puts the sold sticker on their for sale sign, and Bandit starts to feel like he's making a mistake. Also, it must have been a crazy after party because my man Stripe literally wakes up in the bushes. Bingo doesn't even realize they have to leave their house, and to move her start taking out their furniture. And then she gets really sad. Bluey tries cheering up Bingo by telling her the same story the teacher told her earlier. Anyways, in the next scene, the couple that bought Bluey's house is at the Lookout, and they use the coin Bluey left to use the binoculars. Not only that, but they see a beautiful house for sale with a pool, which is what they really wanted. So now they don't know what to do. Bluey's house is now empty though, and everyone is saying goodbye, and a really sad song starts playing. Everyone is in the car ready to go, and just before Dad gets in, he gets a call from the agent. We can't really hear what they're saying, but I'm guessing the couple cut off the sale, and the agent was letting him know. And then Dad does something amazing after that. He goes to the for sale sign and rips it right out of the ground and throws it into the road, basically saying that the house is no longer for sale. Everyone gets out of the car to hug Dad, and it's a really happy turnaround since the rest of the episode has been pretty sad. The family share a nice dinner, and the episode wraps up there. This episode was amazing. The symbolism and foreshadowing was really well done, and the plot was really entertaining. The episode had kind of a sad atmosphere for a Bluey episode. I mean, I literally feel like Bluey spent the entire episode depressed until the last few minutes. I was kind of worried about the pacing of a 30-minute Bluey special, but it actually flowed pretty nicely and had a lot of cool details. And I could see why hardcore fans say they watch this episode over and over again. It had good humor, and seeing the whole family at the wedding was amazing. The theme from the farmer story was true throughout the entire episode. Like when the policeman pulled them over, they thought it was bad luck until he told them that he saw Frisky, and then it was good luck. Also, the entire sequence of trying to find Frisky was really entertaining, and the outro scene was just beautiful. And also, I was really shocked to see that a lot of people were actually not happy with the ending and think Bluey should have moved because it's kind of a weird message to kids. In real life, people are forced to move a lot whether they want it or not. But honestly, I thought the ending with the couple using that coin that Bluey called the lucky coin and finding a house at the pool was cute. It was like everyone in the episode had a good ending, and I think that's what makes this episode so great and rated so highly. Also, everyone loves Rad and Frisky, and seeing them get married was amazing. And also seeing Chili's sister pregnant pregnant was amazing. But finally, the best Bluey episode is Sleepy Time, with an insane rating of 9.8 stars. I also want to say how insane it is that this episode has 10,000 reviews on IMDB, which is crazy for one episode, and it had a perfect 10 out of 10 rating for over 2 years. The episode starts off with Chili and Bandit tucking Bluey and Bingo in, but Bingo has to read one more bedtime story. She shows her a book with all of the planets and tucks her in with her toy Floppy. The theme of the episode seems to be that Bingo is taking her first steps towards being independent, because she says she's going to try to do a
big girl sleep
and wake up in her own bed. Inside of Bingo's dream, she hatches from the earth like it's an egg. It is now flying in space. Not only that, but her toy Floppy hatches from the moon to explore space with her. The atmosphere is really calm and beautiful, so Bingo and Floppy begin swimming through space towards the sun, and they swim past a bigger cracked egg. Back in real life, we see that Bluey is out of her bed, asking mom for a drink of water. After her mom comes back in with the water, of course Bluey falls asleep in her spot, so Chili goes to lay down in Bluey's bed. I think the parallels between the real life and the dream world are really cool. This is especially true in the next scene. Bingo goes to her parents' room, and in her dream, she sees a squishy blue planet. The way she's rolling around, while Bandit and Bluey tug on the blankets, looks so fun. They knock her into the air, and Bingo sees the planet Jupiter. She begins smacking the planet, and in real life, she's just smacking her dad. A funny part about this scene is her and Bluey actually start running together, but when her dad smacks Bluey away, it looks like a meteor smashes right into her, and Bingo kicks her dad right in the biscuits, which makes him wake up and bring her to bed. I like how when he's carrying her to bed, she's in the core of the planet. I thought that was a nice detail. So Bluey's using the bathroom, and when dad's on the way back to his room, she asks him to sing to her. Of course, Bingo's back in their bed now, and Bluey hops back in. So what does dad do? Lays on the ground and uses his underwear as a blanket. What a king. And then Bluey falls off the bed, taking the blanket with her. And in the dream world, this leaves Bingo cold and alone. Off in the distance though, she sees the warm sun again and begins traveling towards it. On her way to the sun, she sees Floppy's home planet and makes a choice to let Floppy go, even though she's sad and crying. This next scene is beautiful. Bingo's mom hears her crying and wakes up. And in the dream world, Bingo gets taken on a comet and flies through space. And then she's right next to her son. Bingo tells the son she has to go because she's a big girl now, and she looks back to her broken egg. Her mom tells her that even when she can't see her, she'll always be there because she loves her. And I love Bingo's little tail wag in this scene. Once again, the parallels between dreaming and real life are amazing. Bingo goes back to her broken egg, but she struggles to pull it together. And when mom is going to bed, she notices Floppy in the hallway and brings it back to Bingo. In Bingo's dream, Floppy closes the egg for her, and she can see her mom, the sun, in the distance, which brings her comfort. The episode ends, showing off the points of interest for the episode, like the glass of water and Bluey and Bandit sleeping on the floor, and the sun rises. This was a truly beautiful episode. It was visually stunning, and the music and storytelling were both incredible. An episode barely anyone talked to each other, yet there was so much symbolism and emotions. I also really enjoyed all the parallels between real life and the dream world, and it was really cool to have an episode focused all on Bingo and her dream. And the way she interacted with the rest of her family in her dream was amazing. Bluey has shown time and time again how good they are at telling a story in just 7 minutes. And honestly, as someone who has a hard time paying attention to most TV shows, it's a nice change of pace watching episodes so fast-paced and short and sweet. I also really love that the 2 stories that mom read Bingo before bed played directly into what she was dreaming about. The first story was about a mom and a baby chick hatching from an egg, and in her dream, her and Floppy hatched from eggs. Floppy was also basically her baby chick, which is why she hatched from the moon, and why Bingo had to let her go. I also really loved that the dad was the planet Jupiter in the dream, and her mom was the sun. It was a beautiful episode, and also had a great message about growing up, and definitely deserves its spot as the best episode. But I don't know, I'm just watching Bluey. Best episodes of Bluey, it's amazing. Bluey's great. It's a great show. I don't care if I'm not a kid anymore. Bluey is amazing. It's a great show.